Now you've worked in, you're English, obviously.
Yes.
You worked in England, you worked in Canada, and a little in the U.S.
Yeah,
do you see any major difference between kind of a Canadian production and a British production?
I mean, essentially, no. A production is a production, and Canadian ones and English ones are run very professionally, and everybody does their job, and you get the project done. I think maybe some of the differences are in terms of people, rather than what they do, just in the personalities. Like British people they'll be a lot stiffer, especially on the first few days. You can't get through to anyone. And here everyone's very friendly and, and makes you feel welcome. And maybe they're particularly making an effort because I'm English and they think that I'm going to be feel ostracized or something, I'm not sure. But it's a lot friendlier and people are more open. And if, as a performer, you're getting frustrated with something, they'll work overtime to iron it out for you and make you comfortable. Whereas I think back home a lot of the time, because you are going to get frustrated with certain things, people think, oh, well, it's your problem. I'm doing something else right now, and you just sort it out yourself. So I think the words are friendly and helpful. Key words.
Great. Now, what you think we have are we going to have, unless I hear it, let's do a good answer.
You want to move along to the next, and then we'll come back?
Yeah, we'll come back at the end.
Okay, good idea.
Very good idea. What attracted you to the role? And if you would say the name of the character too. What to the role attracted you to the role and to the project?
What attracted me to the character of Jane was primarily she's the only woman in the piece, which is, for an actress, is a big gift. And she's not anyone's girlfriend or mother or lover or daughter. She's not someone's something. She's a person in her own right, which is very, very rare to find in a story these days. Well, any day, really. Every woman, as an actress, you get used to it. You're always somebody's something. Do you know what I mean? You're never a person in your own right. And Jane comes in and she's there, and she's a very strong character, very forceful, and she's very direct, which is a gift for an actress because you so rarely get to play strong women. They just don't write them,
You mentioned being the only female cast member. Why is that a gift? Why is that a good opportunity?
Because, you stand out immediately.
Well,
it's just wonderful being surrounded by all these cowboys. Thank you. Thank you. But it's nice having all that attention, and being a kind of focal point. Yeah.
Now, tell us, if you would, or set up the story of Promise the Moon.
Oh, gosh.
How would you explain the story? What happens?
It's very difficult to say in a few lines because it's quite complicated, and basically Jane is working in an office with Robert Butler, who's a friend of her uncle's, and her uncle sent her from England to be looked after by Butler, and if it all goes well between them, he gets to marry her. And it's an arrangement that she has known really nothing about, but they've assumed that women can be used as goods and chattel, okay, put her there, put her here. And in the end, Jane finds out and says, no, I want to do what I want to do, not what you want me to do. So she leaves, but doesn't leave town, which annoys him. And then she goes and she goes to the ranch, meets Roy, and gets involved in all that because I think she's the kind of woman who needs to do something. Obviously she needs to make a living, and she needs somewhere to go. But it is a definite choice to go to the ranch, and she sees them coming out of the train station with Levi and Sophie, and thinks, and overhears conversations, and it's a situation that she wants to get involved in.
How's you mentioned the relationship between Jane and Roy.
Jane and Roy.
Expand on that.
it being a 20s piece and all, it is a love story as well. It's a lot of things. But there is a sort of romantic thread running through it with these two people we're always clashing. And then we have a moment where we sort of get together. And at the end we are together and have chosen to have a life together. But a lot of it is very subtle, because in the 20s people didn't hug each other in public. And like you see on the streets nowadays, you know, they were very, it would embarrass them to be physical with each other, and so we never see them on their own really in that context. But there's no physicality to it in that sense.
But at least, and I think I asked Henry this, watching that's almost more passionate.
Yes, it is.
The touch that's not made, the kiss that's not
yes, it
kissed
is. Yes, because you can always create in your own mind what you don't see, and it's always going to be stronger than what somebody can show you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. How's it working with Henry now?
He's fabulous. Yeah, he's a darling. He's like me. He likes to sort of sort through things and work with the person that they're working with. And I think we have a very good working relationship in that respect, and that we both want the best for the piece, you know. And he's such a sweetheart. So am I.
Sure. Could we get that same answer again? And if you would say Henry at the beginning, you said he, and we might be able to use it, but just in case, if you say, Henry is.
Okay.
So how is it working with Henry? What's Henry like?
Henry's fabulous, and Henry and I have a very good working relationship in that we both work in the same way. You know, we'll sit down together and we'll huddle over the script and say, can we do something with this? Can we do something with that? And we're amenable to each other. And I think he's a wonderful actor, and he's a fine person, as anyone will tell you. Yeah.
What should the viewers expect? Now it's going to be airing probably in the new year. What are viewers going to see? What's going to be entertaining for them?
Oh gosh, lots. The storyline itself is terrific. It's a very strong story of goodies and baddies, and you've got everything in there. And there's fabulous shots of these panoramas, you know, these panoramic views of cattle drives and all the ranch stuff. And I think all the characters are very interesting, of how they all operate together. It's also a very comforting story. I think, you know, nobody really gets hurt too badly if someone gets run over by a car. But that's only Sir Robert, and who cares? No, I'm just kidding. But it's not one of those shoot-up movies. A lot of it is very gently done. I don't really know what else I can tell you.
No, that's an excellent answer. Did you do any
Should we pause?
I like that answer, actually.
It's something you can use in there, right?
Absolutely. When you're up to speed. You're up to speed. Did you do any special research for this role, or on the period, the 1920s, or 1920s Canada even?
Well, one reads books about, particularly on this period, it being about cowboys and life on a ranch, so to speak. And it was quite fascinating, actually, because the amount of women who roped cattle is phenomenal. I kept seeing all these pictures of women roping cattle. I'm thinking, I never knew they did that. You know, I thought they sat at home and baked cakes or something. But women were actually very active within the community. Rolled their sleeves up and got stuck in. Then you have to do research on things like costume and people holding themselves differently because they're wearing different foundation garments, corsets and such.
Someone explained it to me that it was 20s because there's people walk more, and it's kind of a slower speed to everything. Do you think they have something in that?
Are you getting frustrated with the noise?
I am.
Hiya. Holy hell.
I yell and I clear buildings.
Wow. Scary.
You have an alibi?
There was some stress in that.
So
And my desk was so dirty.
you had stress dreams all through that fire, didn't you?
Ain't that always the case? That's right.
Oh, do you think that there's a different... how do you approach a role set in the 20s? Do you find your pace is different, the way you interact with people?
Personally, not really, because to me a person is a person. And if they're a person in 1860, if they're a person in 1920, they're still going to feel pain is pain, love is love, sadness is sadness. And those are unchangeable things. So if this woman was an 80s woman, she would still feel pain, anger, love, sadness, loss, despair, whatever. And that doesn't change through the ages. Those are things that remain, and they're unchangeable. And so in that respect, no, I don't think you react any differently or have to do anything different or special. Do you know what I mean? Those don't change. So there you go.
We're done.
So let's roll.
The guys are holding work for us, so we gotta go.
First
Are they
question.
really holding work?
Yeah, they are.
The first question, though, was on the difference between British productions and Canadian productions.
Oh, yeah. Well, essentially, a Canadian production and a British production, that there is no difference. But personally, what I found is that the crew and so on and so forth, and actors to some extent are a lot friendlier and more accessible, and maybe they're just trying to be friendly toward me because they think I might feel ostracized as a Brit or something. I don't know, but maybe it's just part of the Canadian nature, is that they are open and friendly and very welcoming, for which one is very grateful, being away from home. So yeah, it becomes like a family. Everybody works with everybody else to make it pleasant, and cooperates. And in England, it's just a little bit stuffier.
Wait till they hear about this back in Britain when we send them the tape.
Oh, I wouldn't mind. They'll go, yeah, that's true, isn't it? She's right.
To move. Then everyone's going to move.
Right.
And then you mentioned before that you discovered in your research that a lot more women were involved in the workforce, especially in more manual kind of labor in the 20s than you realized beforehand.
That's right. I was very surprised picking up a book just to research the period, and particularly life on a ranch, is that the women were very hands-on. They rolled their sleeves up, they did the work, and they were very much a feature of the society. They didn't sit at home and bake cakes like I thought maybe they did. And I discovered all these photographs of women roping cattle, particularly women working in the entertainment industry too, doing this this weird horseback riding, and in the shows and in the stampedes. And so I thought it might be strange at first that Jane was so forceful, and she ends up joining in the cattle drive and riding horses and roping cattle. And I thought, well, how does that happen? But it's quite clear how it happens, in that she gets on a horse and she's doing her English riding, and then Roy teaches her how to ride like a Western woman. And in the end, her path is she's leaving that life behind, working in an office and what have you, and becoming a real rancher. You know, it's quite liberating. Infinitely preferable. But yeah.
That's it, we got it.
Thank you.
Self-entertaining.
Okay. Rolling in 5, 3, 2, 1, anytime.
And don't say, if you say that you should watch it because John Bain's job depends on it. The numbers are bad, John. I think this is a production that the whole family can watch. What would you say to that?
It is. I think the nature of the project is very traditional, and it is something that a whole family can sit down and watch without fear of being offended in any way. It's I think so often now people sit down and put their TV on and think, should my kids be watching this? Oh dear. And it's not like that at all. It's a lot of things are dealt with. There's a love story, and there's a bad guy, and he's dealt with, and so on and so forth, and it just has very I think it's a piece that has traditional values.
That's awful. Thank you for asking. Okay.
Ask again and see what happens. I didn't mind that as much. I mean, we might not include that bit of it. I didn't mind you saying she liked the question.
Shush!
One line in family entertainment. Of course, the fly's gonna fly.
Well, they're still banging around, aren't they? They stopped.
Yeah. Why would a family watch Promised the Moon?
Basically because the film is a very traditional film. The nature of the movie is a traditional one. It's a love story. It's
meeting. Just blah 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 blah. Family watching kids, no frontal nudity.
No, I think it's a piece of traditional entertainment. It's a very traditional film, and it's something that a family can sit down and watch. Grandma, granddad, children, mum, dad, the whole family. There's something in it for everyone, is what I'm trying to say. I think everyone will enjoy it.
Okay. So why would families, other than grandmas and grandpas, why would they want to watch this? Why would families watch this?
I think because the movie is a very traditional. It's a very traditional film, and there's something in it for everyone. It's something that the entire family can sit down and watch and be entertained by. The movie deals with real issues. Jealousy and love and hate and all those things, but they're dealt with. They all have a positive outcome. The film has a very positive feel to it, and I think it's something that would appeal to everyone, to an entire family of people, no matter age, generation, sex. It doesn't matter. I think it would appeal to men and women, young and old. Very traditional.